What is up? It's Lamani coming to you with another My NBA 2K16 video back on Mini-Me, about to show you some tips that I hope are helpful. Well, I guess not really tips, but go over some of the aspects of the game that might be a bit confusing to people that aren't familiar with it. I know personally it was confusing for me at first. But I mean, you get used to it and then you come to realize that it's actually fairly simple. Two things have happened with Mini-Me since my last video, and I know this video is gonna be entirely focused on these pointers, but I did want to flash back and show you uh, me re-rolling for my daily goal. So I will flash back to 8 yesterday right now. Okay, jumping back into Mini-Me, just after 8 Eastern, which means time for some new goals. So about to get in, look to see what my current goal is, and then, I do have 5,900 RP to reroll, so hopefully with that I can get a good goal. That goal is awful. Definitely not keeping that one. That one was awful. Hate that goal. I really don't like that one either. Let's go. Perfect goal for Rivals Clash. Only 2 rerolls. Yes. Mini-Me's about to explode, and I couldn't be happier. Let's go. Well, okay. So, got it fairly quickly. No hassle. 2 rerolls. No big deal at all. Got the 20K goal, which I have actually already finished. There you go. So I'm up to 25,900 RP at the moment, which is good. Hopefully we'll be re-rolling, in an hour and a half. I have plenty of RP now, so getting the 20K goal again will be no problem. And then I will, get that in a day. Other than that, one other big thing happened. I hit 1,000 games played, and I got my last ladder reward. So, let's flash back to actually earlier today when that happened. What is up? It's Lamani back on Mini-Me, about to finally hit 1,000 games played. I am at 998 games played. So we are about to see what that free foil star card will be at 1,000 games played. I've been doing this streak. I did lose 1 game last night, so I'm still 108 games away from that. But slowly getting there. Gonna have to go in and change my lineup because I have to be in star tier when I hit 1,000 games played, or it's all for naught. I've leveled up Rudy Gobert, and it turns out my best 3 players are all centers. So that's a little unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. And look at that, I'm already star plus with them all leveled up. But hey, so could be worse. I don't know what people I should go after. I guess I'll try to win a +5, but I am in the middle of that win streak, so if I'm about to lose, I will have to close app. They're my 2 second and third best, but they are out of position, so no position boost means I'm going to use them as the cards that I throw away first. Hopefully I win that. I did. It was probably pretty dang close. I don't really have very good supports, but I still was able to win. So there's game 999. 1 more to go before I get this free star card. I'm anxious to see who it is. Knowing my luck, it will probably be another center or something crazy and just give me 4-star centers because the game hates me, but we'll see. We'll see. Going against star or legend pros is not the greatest sign in the world. Pretty sure Ricky Rubio is better. I think I won that. Yeah, I won. Okay, here comes the all-important 2. Alright, and I won. So, there we go. I was able to win both games with this lineup. And now we get to see who this free card will be. I guess I have to do my picks. Nope, there we go. Hey, Karl Malone, let's get it. That is a sick-looking card. Okay. I don't think I have that card on my other account. I got the best spec and the third best spec. So, can't complain with that. Oh, playmaking might be worse than rebounding. I don't know. I'm going to go look at it. But that is a nasty looking card. If you ever want to see what the card's base stats are, all you have to do is go to your catalog and it takes away the spec. So, yes, I got the best spec and the worst spec on Karl Malone. But still happy to have him. Sick looking card. Probably one of the better star cards in the game, to be completely honest. So that is awesome. And it's a power forward. All good things. Let's get it. Okay, now, with both of those out of the way, and the hype of Karl Malone out of the way, I can scroll. There he is right there. 2 spec, only level 19 at the moment. But, I could level him up higher, but I'm just choosing not to right now. Other than that, I have gotten one more epic pull. No idea how to say his last name. But, there we go. He was the road to the championship card. So, at least there's that, I guess. But without further ado, let's get into some of these pointers or tips. There's a couple things in the game that can be a little bit confusing. We'll go to my star cards. First of all, we're going to just, we got to go into the card. So we're going to hit improve. And now from this screen, yes, it can look a little bit confusing. I know it's a lot to take in right away. So we're going to work through this one step at a time. First, at the top right of the screen, right under the name, you will see 2 plus marks. That is dependent on how many enhancements the card can hold. This is a 2 enhancement non-pro card, so when it's pro'd, it will be able to have 3 enhancements on it, which is the best a card can have in the game. So you would click in there, and then here is the list of enhancements that you have, which you can only get from the daily double at this time. My best one is an ultra rare, so I'm not about to put it on a star card, but if I were to put it on my star card, enhancements can be replaced. They can be. However, once they are replaced, the enhancement that was on the card is gone forever. So once you put an enhancement on a card, it is gone. But that enhancement can be replaced if you later get a better enhancement that you would rather have on the card. So that is a big factor when buying cards off the auction house. If it has bad enhancements already on it, those can be replaced. So that is, good to know. And you get those obviously from your daily picker, which tops off at your current quick game deck strength. Mine's legendary, so I can pull a legendary card. Moving on. The next big thing is abilities. So click into abilities, and I have never clicked this. So, it'll show you right here. Abilities make your players more powerful by sometimes adding stats to your players for the game. It tells you the percent that it will happen. I'm just going to skip through this and explain it myself. Okay, so I have no rare ones. There's a super rare. So if I were to attach this super rare posterizer, it would be plus 12 offense to the entire team. So if I played him in the first quarter and it actually activated, because the trigger percent is up there, the higher rarity of the ability, the better trigger percent it has. And the more specs you have as a player, the greater chance it has to trigger. Because it gets that percent every time your spec is used. At least it did. They might have changed that, to be completely honest. But I know for my 4 spec Road to the Championship cards, they would burn through their abilities way faster because no matter what the stat was played, the ability could trigger. But beyond that, each rarity and ability has more charges on it. So, super rares are only for like 8 games, I think, and then it goes higher, higher, and higher. Next, going down the list is upgrades. I own 2 spec upgrades at the moment. You can get them from the draft board or from extras packs. They upgrade the spec stat. So my offense is my spec stat. If I upgraded it, that it would increase that stat by a certain amount. That's dependent on the tier of the card. The higher the tier card, the more each spec upgrade upgrades that individual stat. Now for my Karl Malone, since it has 2 specs, both stats would be increased if I used a spec grade, meaning that spec upgrades are more valuable for foil cards. Especially Road to the Championship cards. If we were on my main account, every single one of my cards has max spec upgrades just because I have an abundance of them. Back onto Wilt and moving on down the list. We are at stat charges. So, offense, defense, rebounding, playmaking. Star cards can have up to 15 charges per stat. Commons can have 5. Uncommon, I don't really know. We can go look. I know Epics can have 10, Legends 15, Stars 15, and Playoffs can have 20 in each stat. I mean, those are the only ones that really matter. Once you go in, you can charge it with all cards that have that spec. So any card with an offensive spec can charge up a card's offensive stat. Once you charge it, once you use a card for a charge, that card is out of your lineup. So, out of your not catalog, but out of your 200 card limit. So, if you are maxed out on cards and you have quick sold all the cards you possibly can for a day because you are at that daily limit, this is the most effective way to get rid of cards, just by charging up your cards. A common is worth 1 charge, so I'll just throw that in. That is worth 1 charge to Wilt's, didn't mean to go back that far, offense. If I come in and do an uncommon, that is also worth 1. I'm not going to keep going. I'll throw a rare in. A rare is worth 3. A super rare is worth 5. An ultra rare is worth 5. And an epic is worth 10 in stat charges. So, if you charge with the epic, that lasts 10 games. I have not charged with a legend at the moment, but I am pretty sure it would go to 15, a star to 15, and then a playoff would go to 20. But I do not know for a fact, just, hypothesizing that. But yeah, so that explains stat charges, abilities, spec upgrades, and I don't know if I said abilities, and enhancements. Moving on from that, we can look at Sign a Pro, which I cannot sign him because he is in my quick game lineup. All of them are. You cannot sign a card that is in your quick game lineup or in your season, like in a season. Okay, so Sign a Pro. I'm obviously not going to sign him, but brings you to this page once you click Sign a Pro. So there are 3 different types of contracts in the game: rookie, whoa, phone's dying, rookie, veteran, and star contracts. The only way to get star contracts, though, however, are from spending real money or through Good Agent, which is the best perk in the game that you can earn from RC, being a top 25 RC team, or from being on a team that gets 42,800 points en road to the championship, are the only 2 ways to earn that. And Good Agent, it's for a certain time period, and you can then draft star contracts off the draft board. But, I am not on a team, don't plan on joining a team, and I'm not going to be spending money, so star contracts are basically out of the equation for me, which leaves veteran and rookie contracts. The only difference between a veteran and a rookie contract is the number of players needed to pro. So for using a rookie contract, you would need that player and 3 duplicates of that player. So I would need 4 Andrew Bogut cards to then pro Andrew Bogut. The only card that needs to be max level is the one in the middle, the one that you are turning into a pro. For a veteran contract, you only need that player and 2 dupes, and then for a star, you just need that player and 1 duplicate. Those are the only difference in the levels of contracts. As you can see, a wild card can take the place of any duplicate, but I recommend not using any wild cards unless you are proing a playoff card, because wild cards are way too valuable to be used on any card less than that. Moving on, still looking at pros. When you're looking to pro a card, you are going to want to look at the specs of the player card. So Bradley Beal, looking right here, his offense spec is his best stat. So, I don't know why I'm switching. I'll just keep with Bradley Beal. So if I were to pro him, I would want a card. If I had one with offensive spec, I would want to use the offensive spec card as the card being pro'd. That way, the pro'd version of the card would have offensive spec and have his best spec. Another thing to look for is the enhancement slots. None of these cards have. Okay, so Tony Kukoc has 2 enhancement slots on this card, meaning that if I pro'd it with 2 other cards that only had 1 enhancement slot, the pro'd version would have 2 if this was the middle card that I was proing. So that is also important because you want your pro cards to have the most specs or most enhancement slots possible, and you want it to have the best spec, which is also why you would pro the foil version of a card instead of the non-foil version. So then the pro'd would be a foil. Not every card when proing a foil, not every card has to be a foil. Only the main card has to be foil, and then the pro'd version will also be foil. Other than that, the main thing to look for, don't know why I went to that, and proing a card would be whether it is auctionable or not. Most of my stars, actually all of my stars, except for my freebie, Rudy Gobert, are not auctionable. So, I have to look at my Rudy Gobert to make this point. Because he is auctionable, I could then go to the auction house and buy 2 more Rudy Goberts off of the auction house. I don't really need to show it. I look, there's a bunch of them up, but I'm not going to be buying any of them. But if I bought 2 Rudy Goberts off of the auction house and then used them to pro my main Rudy Gobert, which is auctionable, the pro version would then be auctionable. So it is key that you use the auctionable card for the main card in the Sign a Pro. That way the pro version can then be auctioned off when you no longer need it. That is by far the biggest key, in my opinion, to proing cards. You definitely want the pro version to be auctionable. It is also a good way to then, utilize your season rewards, unless you get one of the special cards. Like you obviously can never get MVP, Hall of Fame, All-Star, Record Setter, anything like that auctionable. But if you were to lose in your season and get a normal version of a playoff card or a normal legend or a normal star, you can always hold on to them and hope that you pull a duplicate off the draft board and then use the one from the draft board as the main card and pro it with one of the season rewards. Then utilizing that card, the pro version could then be auctionable, even though the season reward itself would never be auctionable. Same goes for cards won in Rivals Clash or Road to the Championship. So, that is good to know and a good little thing to keep in mind. Other than that, I'm trying to think of something that could be confusing. Daily goals, I've kind of already gone over those. I don't know. I think that about does it. I don't know if there's any other questions. Okay, one other thing that I can show. As I was saying in a previous video, manipulating your lineup is key to the cards that you go up against. So, as you can see right now, I'm using 3-star cards. I'm using Wilt, Ricky Rubio, and the Karl Malone, not max level. Then I'm using Paul Millsap, out of position, and Shabazz Muhammad. Now, why I am using Paul Millsap is because when I swapped in a non-leveled epic. Okay, he's level 10 now, but this was back when he was level 0. When I put him in, it made my opponent stronger than if I used a max level. Now it's not making them stronger. So I can go back. I can use him in position, but I'm going to stick with Paul Millsap. It was just weird because sometimes putting in a better card results in you going against weaker opponents. So when you're trying to manipulate your lineup, make sure to look at the difficulties. If the difficulty of the +5 is still something that would be if your lineup was, not having throwaway cards, then that is not a good lineup to use. You want to keep manipulating it until the +5 becomes easier, or at least your deck strength. Which I have done, and now +5s have become extremely easy. Trying to think. I do not know the help anything like this. Energies you get from quick games, unless you have 40 used. You get one every game, and as long as you don't have 40, you can draft them. But as soon as you have 40, you can no longer draft them from the draft board. They are used in seasons and in BTC mode. They are much more valuable in BTC, however. In season modes, I'm to the point in my main where I just use 100 RP to energize my players and just use my energies if I'm ever trying to play BTC so I can keep playing it without stopping. So I went over stat charges, specs, abilities. The daily picker is pretty self-explanatory. Enhancements, creating a pro, training a card. I guess I haven't gone over that, but I mean I've done it in videos. I can go to it though. So you go into your cards. I can train Malone a little bit. So hit train, and then all your cards pop up. Commons, uncommons, rares. You can select whatever tier. The higher the tier, the more that card is going to do when using it to train. So one uncommon's not going to do nearly as much as one, epic card or ultra rare card, or, obviously, down the list. I can go back to the help. I can just scroll through that and answer, go over. Advanced season play. Okay, so charges get used in when you stat charge or use an ability, it gets used in a season game or in Road to the Championship or in a BTC game or in a quick game. They get used with every game you play. It's kind of, obvious. Tier rating, I think all of the other stuff is self-explanatory. Hopefully this has helped in some way. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask, but I think this covers most of it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna end it there. I'm thinking that answers, hopefully like 95% of the questions, but for that other 5%, feel free to ask, and I will definitely address them in my next video. Or feel free to inbox me on Lamani, and I will answer them on Tuesday during that video. Either way is fine with me. It's whatever is easiest for you. But like always, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, sub, and follow on Twitter at Lamani YouTube. And, I hope you enjoy this Diddy dance party, and I will see you next time. Peace.